All right, I'm here with Raphael Levy, all the way from France to participate in the inaugural Magi-Tsu event here at Richmond Jiu-Jitsu in the heart of downtown Richmond. Are you ready? Are you excited? Are you pumped up?
I'm ready. I've been preparing the whole year for this.
More than just a year, I imagine. What's your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience?
I'm a Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've been training since 2009.
17 years? How long did
Yeah,
it take to get black belt?
about 14.
14 years?
It's been a while, yeah. It took me a long time, but now I'm there.
I was sizing the two of you up, and it looks like you have like a 12-pound disadvantage.
I'm at a slight disadvantage, but
How much does that matter?
it matters if he's much better than I am. But I don't know how good he is. So if we're about even, that won't matter that much.
What's your expectation, if you had to guess? Because I know the way the point structure works, if I remember correctly, is a tap out is -1 card. It's devastating for your magic match that comes after this. And every time you score a point, it's one fewer life. What's your point spread expectation?
So it's hard to expect anything because I've been in tournaments, jiu-jitsu tournaments, when there's a big difference in level, the score can be
Galactic.
Yeah.
Imagine starting at negative life.
If you
Go.
start at 2 life, I mean, you don't really have a choice. You don't really have a chance in the magic game.
Yeah.
But if it's even, or even if they're like, if I'm ahead, or if he's ahead, it's gonna come down to the magic game. But I'm gonna try not to let it happen, even though I probably have the advantage in the magic game.
I would suspect so as a Hall of Famer, for sure. Well, you have a immaculate, perfect, unblemished Magi-Tsu record on the line here today.
Yeah, I intend to keep it that way.
All right, I'm going to wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Talk to your opponent for a sec, and we'll take it from there.
All right.
All right, months of buildup and anticipation. I've been waiting with bated breath as well. We're finally doing this. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. A little cold. My deck's good, so that's good. We're happy with the deck. I feel like Davey was judging me during deck building, but I think we're gonna bring it out anyway. We got a pretty sweet 3-color elf deck with a bomb rare. I don't know, that brings in free cards from your opponent's deck if you play an elf. So that should be fun.
What format are you guys playing?
We're doing sealed deck, Lorwyn Eclipsed. So Dice City Games was nice enough to provide us with our magic supplies. So we have a Lorwyn Eclipsed 6 packs each. We open and build our decks, build 40-card decks, and then the winner is going to get a heavyweight championship belt over there from provided to you also by Inverted Gear, who provided our gis today as well. Yeah, we got gis from Inverted Gear, and then Dice City Games has also given us a collector box of Lorwyn Eclipsed that whoever loses today gets to take home, a little consolation prize.
That's so kind of
for Raph.
Is Dice City Games a local Richmond place?
They're in Maryland, so they're in Silver Spring, Maryland, which is about an hour and 45 minutes from here. But they travel to all the SCG, well, not all of them, but a lot of the SCG events. So you see them; they're one of the popular vendors you'll see in the middle of the in one of the little booths at SCG events and stuff like that. But they're fantastic. They actually provided Raph for a bunch of cards that he needed for the event this week, and they take good care of us. Have a Maryland TCG here as well, who provided Raph's travel expenses, so we could get him here for the Pro Tour and get him here for this event. So it actually took a lot of different people coming together. This is like really a community event, even though it's only 2 of us here grappling.
I was going to say, is anyone else wrestling today?
No, it's just the 2 of us. We did go back and forth with whether we were going to have undercard matches, but between Raph flight time, we need to make sure he gets to his flight on time, and if we had a bunch of cards before us, then we might not make it in time, and I figured it's better for this time to just focus on the first one, make sure it's really good, and then when people are inspired to try Jiu-Jitsu or Magi-Tsu or whatever, we'll have a event closer to home in the future, maybe at my home gym, so we know we're a little more familiar with the layout, and we can have our own waivers. We don't have to put someone else's liability at risk, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna look forward to having another event in maybe 3 to 6 months. But right now we're happy to have one match today. Me and the legend.
You and the legend. I was sizing him up. You've got a big height and weight advantage. How much is that going to matter?
I only have like a 7 or 8 pound weight advantage. So I thought it was going to be bigger. I thought it was going to have like an 18 pound weight advantage. I have an 8 pound weight advantage. I'm a little taller than him. We're going to see how it goes in the jiu-jitsu. I actually think my first jiu-jitsu match, I think I'm going to try and take it slow the first match because I think my deck is good.
Interesting.
So If I get destroyed in the magic half, though, then in the second Jiu-Jitsu match, I'm going to have to try very hard. But I think we're going to... Don't shake your head at me.
And any predictions, honestly? Because I was thinking 3 minutes. How likely are you to get even a submission in 3 minutes? Is that a likely outcome? Or is it mostly just
With
going to be a
two
few
black
points?
belts, it's hard to say. So I don't know what his level is, and he doesn't know what my level is.
Yeah.
Like black belt is the biggest range of skill levels in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yep.
All white belts suck, and all blue belts suck. Like everybody, whatever. But as a black belt, you could be somebody that's done this for 15 years and isn't very good at it at all, but you've put the time in and the work in, and then you end up with a black belt because you understand the sport and stuff
Grind
like
your
that.
way to it, yeah.
Or you could be like a world-beating athlete that just destroys everybody. If Raph is one of those people, then I'm screwed. If I'm one of those people, then Raph is screwed. And neither of us has any idea of which the other one is. I think we're both more towards the hobbyist angle, though. But in my earlier career, I was more towards that aggressive athlete type. And I don't think Raph ever had that experience.
Yeah,
so
you
we're
have.
gonna see.
You've got more of that vibe, I'd say.
I
At
hope-
least on the mat, on the card game
Hopefully-
battlefield, it's a little different.
Hopefully he feels that.
Yeah.
We need whatever intimidation we can get.
All right, cool. Best of luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the arena. On my left, all the way from France, contesting the very first Magi-Tsu world title, Raphael Levy, sporting an unblemished record of 0 wins, 0 defeats, 0 draws, weighing in at 141 pounds. His opponent to my right, Albert, a.k.a. Mason. More of a local boy, also with an unblemished record, 0 wins, 0 defeats, 0 draws. Gentlemen, come to the middle, please. You've both heard my instructions in the locker room. Keep it a clean fight. 3 minutes. Shake hands, please. Listen to John's instructions at all times. Good luck.
All right, gentlemen, take a step back. Competitors, be ready. Go!
Raphael first with the attempted guard pull with seated guard on Albert. Albert falls back into his own guard, looking to utilize the collar, looking for some sort of loop choke. Both opponents fall to their side. There's a half guard in play by Raphael and also by Albert. Albert attempting to make his way on top. Raphael not conceding, looks to elevate his hips over Albert's, securing top position, and pushes the far leg back for a pass. Albert regards. Hand fighting on Albert's left side while Raphael is attempting to pummel an underhook or has an underhook on his right side. Albert looking for the lockdown with a strong 10th planet game. Raph hips super solid, crossing his own feet and pushing back, effectively neutralizing the lockdown. The gi game is ostentatiously a slightly slower game normally than no gi due to the grips and the friction from the clothing. So you're going to see a lot of incremental movement. Raphael is attempting to get his hips elevated up in order to extend his leg through the lockdown. Albert not letting the lockdown go, looking for the electric chair sweep. Raphael with the constant pressure up top, looking to pass, trying to kick his leg feet with the outside leg, getting Albert's shoulders to the ground. Raphael attempting to pass in what looks to be about a 3/4
points,
mount,
Raphael.
and
4
now
points,
has
Raphael.
passed and is looking for a stranglehold on top.
Time.
All right.
Woo!
All right, a quick overview of Albert Elves here. Tristan's command on the top end stands out as one of the very best rares in the format, to the point that you should probably consider splashing for it if you're playing one of its two colors. Odds are that it will do several great and relevant things, and very often it can swing a game on its own. Marilyn, Fey Ascendant, is a bomb rare, but it's not one of the very best in the format, perhaps held back by requiring three colors. She's at her absolute best against other elves, as her triggers can chain together. This deck has some fixing, thanks to the Wayfinders, plenty of early plays, some beefy top end, and a nice mixture of interaction spells. I would be happy to open it in a tournament, though I would run at least one more forest to make sure that my great forest druid can come down on turn 2. And moving over to Wrath Elementals, we have a few flashy mythics here. Spine Rock Tyrant is one of Red's absolute best cards, and it's easy to see why. Huge dragon, relevant ability, what's not to love? Vibrance, in this deck, you're not going to be able to cast it for green, but sending 3 damage is still good value. It is the best part of the card when combined with the body, and the card has a very high win rate. And Thunderflock is a standard worthy rare. We saw it performing quite well in the most recent Pro Tour. In Limited, at its worst case, your opponent has Elementals 2, and it's just a 5/5 flyer, but that's still great. Shine Striker and Eclipsed Flamekin are both signpost uncommons. They both sport high win rates. Being able to chain your creatures together, excellent in this sealed format. This deck has card advantage, removal bombs, and don't forget those filtering creatures to help it all come together. This is an excellent sealed deck. In a head-to-head, I'm going to give the edge to the Elementals. Both decks have good curves, some bomb rares, efficient interaction, but the Elementals deck does have more filtering, so I expect the plan to come together more consistently. It's going to see its best cards more often. And that is, of course, assuming equally skilled pilots. Hello, my name is Caleb Durward, aka Caleb DMTG on YouTube and Twitch, and I will be commentating the sealed matches for y'all today. Remember that because Raphael scored 7 points in the Jiu-Jitsu match, he's starting with a 7-point life advantage. This isn't insurmountable, but it does put Albert on the back foot and might make him try to avoid a race. He might be looking for a grindy game where he can establish a dominating board presence, take a few extra turns to attack. Seems like Raphael won the die roll off to the start with a mountain here. Albert passes back. Raph's got both of his colors. Mountain and island down. Albert draws, passes back. Neither player with a 2-drop. It's not crazy for one of them to not have one, but you'd think that one would too, because both have a solid curve. Eclipsed Flamekin coming down for Raphael. Yeah, this is one of those signpost uncommons for elementals. Comes into play, impulses for either a land drop or an elemental card, and Thunderflock happens to be an elemental card. Excellent. Yeah, this is Raphael's best rare, and there it is. That was like exactly the card he was looking for. It's going to be very hard for Albert to play around, but at least it is face up, so he can try to. Knows it's coming at the very least. Prideful Feastling. Solid stats. 3 mana, 2/3 lifelink. Every creature type. Very reasonable, especially if you can pump it up a little bit. Take advantage of that lifelink. Raph, it's land number 4 here. See a few other lands in hand. Albert untaps, draws. And there's Albert's third color. So we have Island, Swamp, 2 forests, and then Safe Fright Cavalry. Safe Fright Cavalry is a very obnoxious card to play against because it threatens to pump any elf, not just itself. So often you can attack with your whole board, and your opponent can only block one of your creatures, and you can, whatever creature they decide to block, you can pump that one. Vibrance coming down, clearing the 2/3. Nice little 2-for-1. I've had a lot of games in this limited format where that Safe Right Cavalry card eventually gets to the point where it can pump twice in a single turn because the board stalls out long enough. And that is scary. Albert thinks, serves with the 4-4. Raph takes it. Of course, if he tried to block with his own 4-4, then Albert would simply pump it, but moves on to the second main phase. Fires off a Stoic Grove Guide. Solid 5-4. They can come back from the graveyard. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't come back from the graveyard. You can exile it from the graveyard to make a 2-2, which lets it play well with the self-milling elves. Elves have a little bit of a self-mill mechanic in this format. This is often paired with recursion strategies, either cards that rebuy spells or reanimate them. Tristan's Command in Albert's deck can do that. Can rebuy things. Okay, Raph's got something. Kulroth Zealot. Nice. 6 mana for a 6/5, and it flipped a second island. Phenomenal. So Raph had an interesting decision there. Could have land cycled to get the second island, make sure you can cast the Sunderflock, or fire off your 6-drop 6/5 that draws a card, and just hit an island anywhere, right? just draw an island off the top of your deck. Why land cycle when there's an island on top of your deck, right? Oh, so much better. A lesser player would have one less 6/5 right now. Albert in the tank. This is a rough spot because Sunderflock just threatens to bounce Albert's whole board. And then what do? Die about it? Okay, just one creature getting in. Little 5 damage there. It's not nothing. Yeah, you definitely don't want to trade anything here because you have the potential to do a one-sided upheaval. So, like, why would you trade off your things? Well, those things could be attacking. And Raph has that extra life buffer from being good at martial arts. Albert thinking, shuffling a couple of cards here. Can't tell what's in the hand. What could get him out of this? It's hard to imagine anything besides just like a pair of removal spells. A removal spell this turn, and then a second removal spell to take out the Sunderflock itself. Maybe give yourself some time to rebuild. Okay, we got 6 mana. Oh, we do have the Tristan's Command, and it is killing the 6/5 and rebuying an elf. That makes sense. Rebuying the Changeling from the graveyard. Yeah, you wouldn't want to copy a spell with Tristan's Command right now. You wouldn't want to copy one of your elves. Normally, that's a great mode, but when the opponent's just going to bounce all your stuff anyway, you don't want to make a token. That would just get disappeared. There's the Sunderflock, as expected. Now you get to serve in for 5, dropping Albert down to 15. Grizzled Glutton. Innocuous card. I was surprised at exactly how good Grizzled Glutton is. When your opponent is flooding and you don't flood out because you've had those extra loots. Really important stuff. Albert drops lane number 7. What can he do to help stabilize this board? This game's kind of neat because both players drew their best card and got to cast it. Doesn't always happen in a game of limited. There's always that frustrating game where one person doesn't draw their good cards through a whole... Okay, just replaying a 3-drop and a 4-drop. 15 life, so the 5/5 in the air. It's good, but it's not killing Albert immediately. There's still a little bit of game left to be played. Sunderflock, by the way, extremely good card to copy if you get the red uncommon that lets you do that. Pretty good in elementals. 1 red tap. Looks like the 2/1. They can give things trample. And then if you activate it 3 times, you get an extra mana out of it. Neat little card. Sunderflock and Vibrance coming in. Yeah, I don't hate that. Double blocking the Vibrance. So one reason to double block here. Ooh, getting blown out. If you expect the Vibrance to deal all of its damage to your 4/4 anyway, then you could expect the 2/3 to live through combat, and then you're just gaining 2 points of lifelink off the deal. But it is certainly punished, because Raph had a removal spell, killed one of the 2 creatures. Rough stuff. Albert down to 11. Wildvine Pummeler. This card's a chonker, huh? 6/5 with reach and trample, I think that was. The reach is relevant against this Sunderflock. Raph is starting the loots. Getting the loot on. Very difficult for Raph to flood while he's got that little guy active. Yeah, the 1/4 body that he's putting -1/-1 counters on can carry a lot of them too. I think that looter's worth a removal spell. If you see it early on, if you don't need it, the removal spell for something immediate. That's 2 lands that have been turned into other cards already. That's kind of like drawing 2. And then the body is, of course, still around to do more. So all 3 creatures are serving in. I believe, yeah, and Albert's just going to do the trade with the Sunderflock. I think that's what I would go for, too. One of the issues with blocking one of the other creatures is the attack kind of signifies that Raph has something to finish off your creature. So even if you're just blocking the 2/1 or trying to eat the 4/4 for value, then when your creature gets finished off in Raph's second main phase with the smaller burn spell, then you're back to not having an answer to the Sunderflock. And Albert only has so many of those. The life total situation is starting to get dire. 5 life is not a lot to work with. One of the big issues is that one of the ways that Albert could come back from a spot like this is by playing a couple of removal spells and then a big creature, like adding to the board presence. And I think if Albert had a couple of removal spells, those would have been played the other turn. Yep, there's the lands. Makes sense.
Effectively down 2-0, although you've only lost half the Magic games. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling okay. I'm just rethinking my strategy a little bit. And then I don't know what I'm going to do about that Sunderflock thing.
What are you going to do about that?
I don't know.
How do you play around it?
I don't know. Bounces all my permanents.
Don't cast any creatures.
Oh, yeah, if
won't
I don't do
anything.
anything,
Don't do
he
that,
can't
yeah.
do anything. That makes
Precisely,
sense.
yeah. I mean, it's also a 5/5 flyer.
Yeah, I need to hit my bomb. It wasn't what I expected on the ground, so I might stall a little bit more this time and play it a little safer instead of just diving underneath of a person.
Yeah, do you have a game plan going forward, knowing that he has that in his deck?
I don't know that I have a card in my deck that can counteract that. Like, I don't have. How do you counter a Sunderflock? I don't have a counter for it. I don't know.
I guess you maybe trade.
Torpor Orb.
Trade
Anybody
as
got
much
Torpor Orb.
Trade as much as possible, maybe.
Right. Trade early so that there's no army buildup.
There's no momentum
The
when it
build
comes
up
down.
can't swing as much.
Exactly. If you
Take
get
all
into
the
stalemate,
trades.
it'll kill you. So
Yeah,
maybe
take all the
just
trades.
Trade, like, even if it means you might lose something, just keeping stuff off the board.
If I
particularly
hit
you
my
get to
bomb,
mid-game.
even if I build out my bomb, right, that generates all the value from all the elves that I play.
Yeah, you just sweep it all.
He just bounces it all in one card. It's so stupid.
Is there
So stupid.
is
Who
there
picked these packs? Whoever handed out the packs. That's who I blame for that.
Is there an equivalent on the mat to that?
So, not really. Yeah, you can always overcommit to something and then be punished for it. But at the same time, there's no like equivalent of like putting all my resources out there. I can think of, at least in Jiu-Jitsu.
Flying wheel kick.
Yeah, flying moves
flying
and stuff.
triangle.
And I'm not doing any flying stuff. So
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
go
see
for the
that
flying
happening.
triangle. He's
Yeah.
not going to expect it.
I was surprisingly, he expected the move that I did, which nobody ever expects. And he's from France. They're not even supposed to know this stuff over there.
What do you expect? I mean, this guy is a Hall of Famer. I think he does his research.
He is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Might
probably studied video of you for the
Might
last
have bit off
several
more than I
months.
can chew. We're going to find out.
Certainly. Good luck next
Find
round.
out. Thank you.
Mr. Levy, impressive work so far. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Strategy worked in both fields, so I feel like I have the advantage on the magic part, and turns out I can take him in Jiu-Jitsu. So
Oh my
let's
God.
let's.
Is this going to be a bloodbath? Is it going to be a rout?
Well, we'll see.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, gentlemen, shake hands. Take a step back. Competitors, be ready. Go!
Albert with a little homage to Elio Gracie, wearing his stripe side on his right side, which you can see in Helio's book is sometimes on the right side. Both contestants engage. Raphael with the half guard pull. He uses the half guard, sort of a swing sweep,
Raphael.
creating some pendulum momentum to come up on top for 2 points. Just a quick rundown. A takedown or a sweep are 2 points. Passing the guard, in which you get all the way around the legs of your opponent and attach yourself to their upper body, is 3 points. Obtaining mount or back mount is 4 points. And knee on belly is 2 points. Albert attempting to use an overhook on his right side, of which Raphael pummels out. Attempting the same passing sequence, keeping his knee bent, which can make it very difficult to utilize a lockdown. Albert's going to want to look to extend his legs and swing them side to side to generate momentum for a sweep or to dig in towards deep half. Albert is a no-gi player. It should be noted he trains with me and rarely trains with the gis, so the use of the grips and everything can become a little bit foreign. They are a great strength multiplier. If you have good grips, that really can be one of the deciding factors in a match. Raphael attempting to hunt for the submission from high half guard. Albert's going to want to try to keep his back off the ground, making his hips more mobile. Raphael using his outside left leg to kick free his trapped leg, advances to 3/4 mount, and has Albert turned towards the outside, which is generally a little disadvantage. Albert's going to want to swing his hips all the way to the other side to make himself more mobile and present all his limbs so he could frame and regard better. Shout out to Inverted Panda for the gis. And Raphael with a swinging back take, looking immediately for the choke. Albert defends, and Raphael comes up on top for 4.
Time. 4 points, Raphael, right at the end.
All right, and we are coming back to the Magic. It looks like Raph is doing well at martial arts because he is starting 10 life above Albert. Again, this is not an unwinnable starting position, but it gives Raph more of a key resource to play with and might prevent Albert from trying to race. Albert's looking for a grindy game where he can help, where he hopes to keep Raph's board position from getting too large. We do have a 1-drop this time. A little 1-mana 1/1 that spreads a -1/-1 counter if it trades in combat, so difficult to block with, say, a 2-mana 2/2. Very reasonable little card to put blight counters on, though I don't think Albert has much blight in his deck. Players are chatting, gesticulating, moving a pen, doing player stuff, shuffling their hands. Oh, that's magic, baby. I like these playmats. We got Lord of the Rings and Shivan Dragon. Classic. Shivan Dragon signed by Melissa Benson. Oh, they're both signed, but Raph's notepad is over the other one. Cool. Albert gets in for 1, plays another land, turn to Iron Shield Elf. Now that's a 2-drop. That's a 2-drop, I tell you what. 2-mana 3/1, you can discard a card to make it indestructible until end of turn and tap it. Sometimes the only way to answer it is just to get a larger creature in front of it. There are some pacifism effects in the format. Sometimes you can grind the opponent low on cards, especially in limited. Make them trade the resources elsewhere. We get a Soulbright Seeker coming down for Raph. A little 1-mana 2/1 action, revealing an Enraged Flamecaster. 3-mana 3/2. 2 mountains so far for Raph. No islands yet. Looks like more mountains in hand as well. Albert untaps. Missing green, but there is an Eclipsed Realms. I have not put this card in any of my decks. We don't know what it's naming, but I assume Elf. Enraged Flamecaster coming down. So yeah, 3-mana 3/2 reach. And then when Raph casts expensive spells, cards that cost 4 or more, can get an extra 2 damage in. Bog Slither's Embrace. 2 mana, can exile target creature, but you have to spend either blight onto one of your cards or spend an extra 3 mana to cast it, effectively turning into a 5 mana card. There, he decided to blight onto his little 1/1 goblin because he didn't mind it dying and killing the 2/1 anyway. Raph draws for turn, finds the island, working with both colors now. What will his deck do at full power? It'll pass the turn back. Albert draws. Gets in for 3. The life totals have evened up a bit. There's a forest. There's a real land. And there's the 4-mana 4/4. Nice. So this game is looking much better for Albert than the last one. It's a head on board, beating down. Only a couple cards in hand, but that's okay. Applied some pressure. Ooh. I thought I saw a Maryland Fey Ascendant there, actually. I think that card costs 5. Could take over a game. If Albert gets 1 more mana. Bam! Vibrance. Bam! Target your 3/1. Is that worth discarding a card for? Kind of depends on what you're discarding. Probably not going to bin the Fey Ascendant, if I'm right about that being one of the cards in hand, but I couldn't see what the other card was. One thing about saving your 3/1 here is that the 3/1 does not do very much when your opponent has a 4/4 in play. Hard to keep serving in with it. I guess you have the cavalry that can threaten to pump it and then discard. The Vibrance blocks your 3/1. Could do that. But you'd need to draw the 5th land to activate the cavalry, of course. Yeah, there's a real argument for letting your 3/1 die. Decides to bin. Oh, Tristan's command. That's crazy. You're crazy, Albert. Maryland Fey Ascendant coming down. Raph decides to read. We got a reader here. 2 cards over. That's a dragon. that's a big old dragon. How does Maryland read again? I gotta reread this card. You like get to play it for free if something or other. It costs less than your number of elves or something. Once each turn, you may cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the number of elves and fairies you control from among cards exiled with Maryland this turn without paying its mana cost. So no dragons coming down quite yet. And then we're trading. Seems like the 4/4 could have served in first, huh? And then Raph wouldn't have been able to block. Got a little excited. A little excited to play the sweet bomb. But now with one less elf in play, the bomb gets to play fewer cards. Enraged Flamecaster. Kill the 3/1. Albert Hellbent. Untaps, draws. Gets in. Eclipsed Flamekin. Digging for cards. So if Raph already has Thunderflock in hand, might be looking for a second island again. These impulse cards are so good. I call them impulse cards, where they look at the top 4 cards of your library, and you either get the a creature or a basic. Looks like I found Twin Flame Travelers there. Twin Flame Travelers, a 4-mana 3/3 flyer, which is already reasonable stats, but does have the ability that if one of your elementals would trigger, it gets to trigger a second time. And when you got elementals that are like drawing cards when they come into play, you don't need very many triggers for that to be quite good. Elementals that can kill another creature when they come into play. Okay, Albert's got something. Nice. Rooftop Percher. Very easy to underestimate Rooftop Percher, but getting a little bit of life. Exiling some cards. That matters for some decks. Okay, we're getting the Fey Ascendant trigger. Because Albert did play an elf there. Yeah, being a changeling matters too. Yeah, flyers are good in this format. Gaining a little bit of life is good. Hitting a little bit of the graveyard's good. And then just being every creature type is good. Just a good little card. I definitely tend to underestimate it. It's got reasonable stats, and it just rarely ends up in my pile. And then I watch like pros playing on the Pro Tour, and very often makes the cut for them. Okay, Twin Flame Travelers comes down. Get a shock out of the 3-mana 3/2. Perfect. A little bit of reach there. Yes, there's a 3-mana 3/2 with reach and a 4-mana 3/3 flyer. Could threaten to double block the Fey Ascendant now. Perhaps thinking about something. Does he have another play? Want to leave up mana? Albert untaps. Both players still have a reasonable amount of life to work with. so they don't have to get too hasty here. Now this would be an excellent spot to have a Tristan's command. We knew it was going to happen. Pass the turn, flash 2-2 comes down. Shine Striker. Now that's an excellent card. One cool thing about that flash 2-2 is that it is a black creature, thanks to hybrid. So the Shine Striker is now drawing 3 by itself, but the trigger gets doubled thanks to the 4-mana 3/3. So Raph just got to draw 6 cards, and that is a lot of cards. 6 mana, 3/3 flyer, comes into play, draw 6 cards. Doesn't sound like an uncommon, does it? It sounds it sounds like that might be a bomb rare if that was just printed as a normal limited card. Not a bad one to double. Albert, a little bit on the back foot now, but not out of it. Still has a bit of a board presence here. Changeling Wayfinder. Gonna get a land out of the deck, and because the Changeling is, of course, an elf, it's gonna trigger Marilyn yet again. 2 lands, getting some nice deck damage. Pawing through. There are 3 elves in play now. Trying to figure out what the other cards are. Yeah, because it's once each turn you may cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the number of elves and fairies you control without paying its mana cost. From among cards, exile with Marilyn. Oh, this turn. Okay, so the old cards don't matter. Well, I guess you can't really chain elves and stuff together. I guess you get more deck damage. You get to mill more cards. Another flash 2/2, sure. Getting tapped for Convoke. Sky Swimmer. Triggering the 3 and a 3/2 for another shock. Albert down to 10 life. Creatures getting in. Now, if you're Albert in this situation, you're not very happy. It kind of implies that the Raph has ways of finishing off your creatures and such. From Albert's side, I might be trying to get the 3/2 off the board. Trade with the 3/3. It looks rough, though. Looks like Raph played a pump spell. We got things dying. We got things trading. Albert's down to 4. Oh, a brutal little turn. Not a very good turn at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner in the inaugural 2026 Magi-Tsu World Championship. Raphael Levy. Congratulations. All right, it's over. Just like that. That looked so easy. How was it? How did it feel? You made it look effortless, honestly.
Nah, like, I was looking forward to the fight. It's been tough coming in because there was the PT to prepare for, and I also knew I had to not look like someone who would wipe the floor. So I got some training in, probably not as much as I wanted, but fortunately it was enough. Albert was, a good sport. He trained he accepted the fight with the gi. I don't really do no gi, so that was to my advantage. Turned out that was a fine fight, and was according to my plans, went my way. And the magic, I have a lot of training in, so
I've heard, yeah, definitely.
a little bit more training that he does.
We speculated a bit that you might have viewed some tape or talked to some people just to get a little insight into what you were facing? Did you do any of that stuff?
Not really, because I don't think any of you guys had seen me fight. So some people did, but not a lot. And I expected people to think, oh, this guy's small, he just all talked. And, he's, oh, yeah, he'd kick your ass. No, probably not. Come on, look at this guy. He's like 140, he's 1.70 meters. He's going to get his ass kicked. Well, hopefully I proved them wrong.
I think you proved them wrong. Final question, actually.
Yes.
Are you going to defend the belt next year?
If there's any contender that's not a giant, yeah,
All right.
probably. I'll try.
All right, I look forward to seeing that. Congratulations, my friend.
you.
Well done. I'm sorry you had to say farewell to the undefeated record. Didn't work out today.
It's not my first loss in combat sports. I doubt it'll be my last either. So it's all good. We got the sport started, which is the most important part. Obviously, we talked about in the video where I explained Magi-Tsu how it started from like kind of an arrogant place, right? Where somebody asked me if I thought I could beat up all the Magic players in the room. The answer is still yes.
Yeah.
Just so like
on average.
as long as Raph's not around, yeah, it's probably still a yes. Like, but the premise is still solid. I don't think we disprove that by having a Hall of Famer come in and beat me up. And I think that it's good. I think we have enough that we'll be able to make some videos from this and get enough interest in it to have another event where we can get some maybe not quite as high level people to come compete. Maybe some white and blue belts, some purple belts, and maybe we'll get Raph to come back next year. I'll find somebody. I'm going to find a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner and teach them to play Magic.
There you go. Yeah, the fans want to know any rematch in order.
So believe it or not, I had already not wanted to do more Magi-Tsu after today.
Yeah.
This might motivate me to try and get it back. The thing that would motivate me the most to try and get it back is if I can't find someone else. Like, there's very few of us Magic player black belts
Right now.
so far.
Maybe you've inspired a generation.
And again, I don't think the only other one that I know of is Brian Tinsman. And again, I don't think he's in our weight class. So if we can't find Raph another match to give us a chance to bring the belt back to U.S. soil, then I guess it'll have to be me again. But we'll see. We'll see about next year's first Pro Tour. So I believe that the reason to go to the first Pro Tour of the year is in case you can qualify for the next one, you can keep your little gravy train going. So I would expect Raph back in the United States at the beginning of next year.
Cool.
If I had to guess.
Any final words?
Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed watching me get beat up on the mat and in Magic. And if you think that you could do it, you're probably wrong.
No shame in second. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It was great.
Great job,
Yeah.
guys.